All right, so this video is going to be about the Canam multi-mount winch that you can put on your Canam Defender. This here is a 2017 Canam Defender. I bought it without a winch on it because I knew I wanted to do the multi-mount winch system to put the winch on the front and the back of the machine. Here we have the actual carrier that holds the winch, and this is movable from the front to the back. So we'll go ahead and take it off and I'll show you how it mounts and how it wires on the front of the machine. Okay, you can see we're on the inside of the front of the machine here, and we have the Canam OEM high mount 2-inch receiver, and that's where the multi-mount mounts into. It doesn't mount down here where the winch would normally go. I have one of the Canam Defender XMR hooks mounted in the front. So it has a hitch pin there that if you pull the hitch pin out, the actual winch and the cradle will come out of the front, and then it's wired here on the bottom you know, to plug in and get power. Then we have a contact point here in the front where we have the cables that go all the way to the back for the 2-inch receiver in the rear. And then this is where your stock cables for your winch would mount to, coming from the dash. And then you would just have this little whip here where it plugs in that would go to that mounting point, so it's very easy to install. The wires are run along the frame through the cab, and then down through the frame by the engine, and then come out on the back side where the 2-inch receiver is. So we'll move back there and I'll show you that. Okay, so this silver line here that comes down along the frame, that's zip tied to the other line, is your winch cable for the multi-mount winch. It comes with it as a kit, and it runs from the very front that I just showed you, and then the plug is on here on the back by the 2-inch receiver. So we'll move over there and we'll show you that. All right, we're back at the back end of the Canam Defender here, and you can see that we have our 2-inch receiver that's on the frame, and that's where we're going to mount the carrier for the WARN winch that we have. Here you can see the plug keeps that clean and clear of dirt and debris, and that's where you're going to plug in the power to the winch so that you can use the winch on the back of the machine. All right, now we're back at the front of the machine, and we have the hitch pin pulled out and the electrical connector unplugged, and you just grab a hold of the handle and it just unplugs. You can see here we have our 2-inch receiver. You can stick a regular trailer hitch in that and move trailers around, or you can keep it and use it with your multi-mount winch. We'll go ahead and take this to the back and I'll show you how it mounts onto the back of the Canam. All right, so now that we got the winch carrier pulled out of the front, you can see that it just mounts with a 2-inch receiver, and the carrier holds a winch. Here we have the WARN 45S VRX winch. It just has a little electrical whip on there where it plugs in to the wire harness and then onto the winch. All right, so you can see now we have the WARN multi-mount winch put into the 2-inch receiver here on the back of the Canam Defender, plugged in for electrical power, and then it works just like it would on the front. It does sit pretty low to the ground, so if you're in a deep mud hole, it's going to be hard to get this winch down in there, but if you have a use where you need it on the back of the side-by-side, it really comes in handy. The main reason why I did this was because I only wanted to buy one winch for the front and the rear, and by buying the multi-mount winch kit, you know, you can plug it into the front, plug it into the back, and it comes with all the parts and pieces. It was very easy to install. There wasn't a whole lot of wiring. Like I said, you just run it from the front to the back and put the little whip on the winch, and you're all set to go. The one thing that I do like is that the dash mounted switch and the front winch remote will work the winch when it's in both positions. So there's no need for a second switch or remote in order to run it in the back. It all uses the same stock wire harness and contactor that's mounted inside the dash, so that the switch and the remote work to function on both winches, front and rear. Overall, I really like this setup. I have it set up on the front for the winter with my Canam plow, and it lifts the plow fine. There's no issue with having it mounted in the receiver as mounted into the stock position on the frame in order to lift up the plow. And I really like this kit. It wasn't too expensive. I think it was $200 or $300, and it was well worth it to make your winch a true multi-mount winch.